And then after that, we've got the men's youth and women's youth 2V single scull finals after a quick break. So we've got 2 more races right now, and then we're going to take lunch for about an hour and a half or so.
No, that's the mixed sheets.
Oh, we are operating off of mixed sheets. I was getting so excited for lunchtime. All right, we've got another few races to go here before we get lunch. We're going to break for lunch after our 11:09 race. So we have about 7 more races for you this morning. Real excited to tee those up now. And we are riding along with the men's youth Cox 4 novices. This is such an exciting boat class because it's a big load to have to carry a coxswain down a race course, but as a novice to not have to worry about about steering or making calls, it's a big advantage to just focusing on your blade work, focusing on how you're pulling through the water. And we do see that we've got a pretty tight race here. 2 minutes in to our men's youth novice Cox 4s. Closest to us on the screen, Sammamish in lane 1. Lane 2, Rose City. Lane 3, Green Lake. Lane 4, Green Lake B. Lane 5, Commencement. And lane 6, Bainbridge. And it looks like Sammamish, closest to us on the screen, is in the lead. Oh, but not for long, because I think that Green Lake is just overtaking them. All right, we've got Sammamish in second, Green Lake in first. And then in third, we've got a race for third, folks, between Rose City and the second Green Lake boat, I believe. And then over on the upper edge of your screen, Commencement Bay and Bainbridge are locked into a race for fifth and sixth positions. This is some exciting racing that we're seeing. First and second is still very close between Sammamish and that Green Lake boat. Again, with Rose City and the second Green Lake boat duking it out for bronze. All right, exciting developments to report. Sammamish has taken the lead over their Green Lake competitors. And it looks like they've got almost a bow deck up on Green Lake as we approach 4 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock. Getting a really good feel for how these racers are connecting with each other, especially in the foreground of our shot with Sammamish having taken the lead. You see the water is presenting a little bit of difficulty. The tailwind does create just enough ripple, and especially getting your water in the catch can be so tricky with those tailwind kind of crests that are created coming into your boat, that is giving you that speed, but also just making it a little bit tougher to manage with your blade work when you get yourself into the water. And so it really requires a little bit of experience to be able to manage. And these boatmen are doing a great job of it, though, especially for this being their novice year. We see the Green Lake boat up in the third lane is actually coming under fire from their teammates in lane 4. We've got a Green Lake side-by-side match. The lane 4 Green Lake boat is starting to catch up on the lane 3 Green Lake boat. And it looks as though we've got Sammamish for first and Green Lake for second and third, with that third place Green Lake boat just coming back every stroke. It looks like they've definitely picked up their stroke rate, and they are not going to go quietly against their boathouse rivals. There's a lot of team-based competition going on right here. I'm sure these boats have practiced against one another. There might have been some seat racing that went into this boat selection, and so they're having a great time. And the wind is starting to gust a little bit more. We can feel it on the shore. That's going to create another level of instability as these boats finish, and of course that is against the final sprint, which is harder to pull off because you're going up at a higher rate of striking. As your strokes per minute elevate, it is harder to stay balanced and poised. And so to add that windiness is just going to make it a little bit harder for these athletes. A little bit more exertion will go into each stroke, and ultimately leading them to be more drained by the end. And so sometimes lactic acid threshold does catch up with us, and things can happen at the finish line, up to and including nausea, vomiting, blackout, bloody hands, and exultation. But that's why we do it. And Sammamish bringing it up for their final sprint finish. Fantastic job from the Sammamish boat in their novice year. Still learning the ropes, still figuring out what it means to row, how to race. And they just rocked that finish, unofficially around the 7-minute 30 mark. That is a great time for a novice Cox 4. Congratulations to that boat. Wow, an unofficial 7:28.3. That is so exceptional. Props to that hard-fought race from Sammamish. You absolutely love to see novices getting that excitement for the sport early on in their rowing careers. You never know where these novices are going to end up. Sometimes rowing, later in life. Sometimes rowing in college. But whatever it is that they end up doing with the sport, you hope that they hold on to these fun memories from races like these, where there was a healthy bit of competition. And Green Lake taking second from their counterparts, the other Green Lake boat, which took third. So it went Sammamish for gold, Green Lake silver, Green Lake bronze, and then Rose City in fourth. And I think we had Commencement Bay and Bainbridge. Yep, Commencement Bay, and then Bainbridge bringing up the rear of that pack. Coming up next, we have the second of our men's youth novice Cox 4 timed finals, featuring in lane 1, Mount Baker, lane 2, Lakeside, lane 3, Bothell High, lane 4, Eastside Prep, lane 5, Clam Island, and lane 6, Pocock. Alrighty, we are 2 minutes and 20 seconds into our next race. Oh, and unfortunately, it looks like we had a scratch from the Pocock boat. So lane 6, Pocock is not going to be competing in this. But in lane 1, we have Mount Baker, lane 2, Lakeside, lane 3, Bothell, lane 4, Eastside, Prep, lane 5, Clam Island. And as our drone catches up with this race, let's see what we can see here. Alrighty, folks, we've got eyes on the second men's youth novice Cox 4 timed final. And I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that we have a clear race leader so far in what might be Lakeside. Or Mount Baker. Yeah, I think that's Mount Baker in the lead right now. With, I believe, Eastside Prep in second place for this Youth Cox 4 Novice Final, the second of two. Coming up after this race, we've got the 2V Single Scull Finals for the men's and women's event. And then after that, the men's U15 Coxed Quad Finals. All right, it looks like Mount Baker still in this lead, with Eastside Prep in second. Seeing a lot of acceleration from this Mount Baker boat. You notice how the boat is just responding as they get their legs down. Seeing a little bit of washout with these blades, however. Not the cleanest of finishes, but definitive catches, all synced up and really driving together. The legs are all getting down together. You're seeing a lot of acceleration. You can see those little ripples and swirls off of the stern of the boat towards your right on the screen. As we come up to 5 minutes and 15 seconds in this race, we're starting to be able to make visual contact with them from the shore.
Hey, Tessa, you can come on in.
And you can even see the whitewash from the shore as well. And having a look there up at that Eastside Prep boat too, they look like they're also having trouble with their finishes. And that might be a feature of this tailwind, making it a little bit harder to pull the blades out of the water as they deal with the added speed. Coming into the final 500 meters of this race. Oh, a little bit of a toss and a tumble there. Seeing bow seats having a difficult time managing his blade a little bit. Oh, two seat is off of his seat there. Oh no, they are losing acceleration as two seat tries his best to make it work without his seat. It looks like he's just rocking and rolling with his hips on his slides there. That's a tough position to be in. He's not able to get his legs down all the way. He's really only just rowing with his torso. Thank goodness they have a big lead, because that's probably getting eaten into stroke by Eastside Prep. It makes you wonder if maybe he should stop and put his seat back on, but that would just wreck the momentum of what they're building towards now. But it does look like Eastside Prep is catching up with them. So a little bit of a malfunction in the equipment. But nonetheless, Mount Baker is committed to continuing with their two seat off of his sliding seat. He's probably just operating with his hips and his glutes on the sliders, which is not comfortable by any means. But he might have lost his seat. It might have come right off the tracks and is rattling around in the boat, which can also be disorienting for the rest of the crew. But they're making it work. I mean, they still have their rhythm, and huge props to that two seat for not letting his blade work really suffer. He's trying to get as much leg drive as he can, but he can't get his legs all the way down without being on his seat. And he's making it work all the same. Huge amount of heart in this two seat from Mount Baker. Absolutely refused to stop. So Mount Baker took the win despite two seat having a pretty big disadvantage there. And that was about a 7:53, 7:54 finish. We'll get that official time or unofficial time real quick. Oh, it was a 7:49. 7:49 from Mount Baker to take the win over, I think it was Eastside Prep in second place position. Yeah, with an 8:02 unofficially. Eastside Prep taking second place position there, as the rest of those boats come on up to the finish line. All right, and in third place, that was Bothell, followed by Clam Island, and then Lakeside in fifth place position from that last race. And right now we are 4.5 minutes into the women's youth novice Cox 4 time final, 1 of 2. It looks like we have 6 boats in that race. Lane 1, Seattle Scullers. Lane 2, South Eugene. Lane 3, Burton Beach. Lane 4, Seattle Prep. Lane 5, North Cascades. And Lane 6, Whatcom. I think North Cascades is in the lead right now, up there in Lane 5.
Isn't that the page that skipped?
I take it back. Those lane assignments were not correct. In Lane 1, Bainbridge. Lane 2, Everett. Lane 3, Pocock. Lane 4, Holy Names. Lane 5, Lakeside. Lane 6, Sammamish. And so that would place, I think, Lakeside in the lead here of this Cox 4 event. Or no, that is Sammamish. Oh, all the way in the top on the left. Yes, there they are. My production team is invaluable, keeping me on the tight and narrow here. It is a very spread out field. So Sammamish in Lane 6 has a commanding lead over the rest of the field. I believe that's Lakeside in second with Pocock in third. But yeah, Sammamish all the way up in front as we approach 6 minutes. And riding along with Sammamish in the women's youth novice Cox 4. Nice and synced up row here from the Sammamish crew. Oh, I spoke too soon. As we've seen earlier in today's racing, that 500 meter mark really does come with a little bit more wind, and it's been throwing off some teams. Nonetheless, Sammamish in a clear and commanding lead. Looks as though they're definitely going to take the win here. As we come up to the 8-minute mark, it looks like Sammamish is about to cross into the final 50 meters of the race. And a great sprint finish from Sammamish as they cross the finish line in about an 8:05. Unofficial announcer time. And we are looking at the finish now of the rest of the field, featuring Bainbridge, Everett, Pocock, Holy Names, and Lakeside. I think the next boat to finish will be Holy Names. And the third place boat looks like it's having a little bit of an equipment malfunction. I think somebody might have come off of their seat up there in Everett's boat. I think that is Everett, yeah. Oh, they've got it back though. Just in time to clinch a third place finish across that finish line. So Sammamish ended up winning that with an 8:06. Holy Names took second with an 8:38. And we'll see about the third place bronze medal position. Everett taking third with an 8:51. Congratulations to those 3 medal winning boats today. our next race is going to be the Women's Youth Novice Coxed 4, Part 2. Lane 1, Mount Baker B. Lane 2, Holy Names. Lane 3, Rose City. Lane 4, Bainbridge. Lane 5, Green Lake. And Lane 6, Green Lake B. All right, and we are riding along now with the second part of the Women's Youth Novice Coxed 4. And it looks like Green Lake up at the top of our screen is in the lead. All right, so we've got Green Lake B in the lead, followed by Bainbridge in second, with Rose City right behind them in third. And the first Green Lake boat is in fourth place, but just barely. They are trying to claw their way back to Green Lake, and I think Holy Names is back there in fifth. But right now we are riding along with Green Lake B, who has about a boat and a half open length over the Rose City boat.
1,000 meters.
As these boats are coming up on 1,000 meters to go. And the wind does seem to be turning a little bit more in the cross direction, so it's less of a clean tailwind now than when we started earlier this morning, and we're seeing more of a cross-thatched wind direction that's going to make it just a little bit harder to keep clean blade work, and I think we're seeing that here with these boats right now. It looks like Holy Names is starting to pick up speed, though, so Holy Names might be taking second place. But perhaps not. Rose City fighting it out. So in first place right now, we still have Green Lake in lane 6. All right, Green Lake just entering the final 500-meter stretch here. Coming into the final pylons and visual sight on the beach. It does look like a pretty good race for second, however. The second Green Lake boat trying to get into second, but just having a real time of it in these cross tailwind conditions and not quite able to catch up to the second place Rose City boat. All right, and coming into the final strokes of this race, Green Lake B over in lane 6 of this Women's Youth Cox 4 event, the second of our timed finals today. A real battle for bronze and silver, though, however, behind them. It looks like Rose City has held on to that lead. But the Green Lake boat in lane 5 is doing everything they can to try to get into silver. I don't think it's going to be enough, but they are, oh man, they're coming back. Who knows? Holy smokes. I don't know where that second Green Lake boat got it from, but they might have just got it over the Rose City crew for silver. I am not entirely sure. Wow, that was a great race. Okay, we have unofficial times. Green Lake for the win with 8:37. However, Bainbridge, it wasn't the second Green Lake boat. It was Bainbridge got an 8:49 just ahead of Rose City. Congratulations to those two boats on a hard-fought race throughout. And Mount Baker B taking 4th place position for that race with a 9:11. Great work, Mount Baker B. And Holy Names comes in for 5th with a 9:22. And I think we've got the second Green Lake boat just about to cross the line now. Give it up for Green Lake B.
God, I love how fast this thing is.